Hi everybody, today is April 13th, 2014, Moon Day. Set your clock for Blood Moon Eclipse and Mars. Monday night marvels are worth staying up late for. Not only will Mars be bigger and brighter than it's been for more than 6 years, but you'll also be able to see the first total lunar eclipse in more than 2 years. Total lunar eclipse occur when Earth is positioned precisely between the Sun and the full moon because of the tilt of the moon's orbit. Total eclipses don't happen that often. About twice in the course of 3 years, on average. When they do it, it can be a spectacular sight. The darkening moon takes on a reddish glow because of the sunlight refracted by the Earth's atmosphere. The last total lunar eclipse took place in December 2011, but we're coming up on a series of 4 such events. It's called the 4 blood moons, known as a tetrad, which is dictated by a reoccurrence of the right orbital parameters after Monday night's eclipse. The other 3 are due on October 8th, and then next year on April 4th and September 28th. I am sure you've heard a lot of talk about this. The most unique thing about the 2014 tetrad is that all of them are visible for all parts of the USA, Fred Espernick said in a NASA preview. Unlike solar eclipses, lunar eclipses are visible to half the world at the same time. This time around, North America is prime territory, but portions of the eclipses can be seen from parts of South America, Europe, and Asia just before sunrise, and parts of Asia and the Pacific just after sunset. NASA is planning an all-up-all-night chat and starts at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Tuesday, and continues until the eclipse is completely finished around 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. NASA astronomer Mitzi Adams and astrophysics Alpha Sterlings will be available to answer your questions. A live Ustream view of the lunar eclipse provided by NASA Marshall Space Flight Center will accompany the commentary. You can also tune in eclipse coverage on NASA TV starting at 1 a.m. and share your eclipse pics via NASA Flickr group. There's even a pre-game show. Astronomers from Marshall will take questions during Reddit Ask Me Anything session scheduled for 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Monday. The SLU Virtual Observatory is planning its own webcast at 2 a.m. Eastern Time Tuesday, featuring live feeds from various locations and commentary from host Paul Cox and astronomer Bob Berman. Guests include Timothy Ferris, author of Seeking the Dark, and Duncan Cobb, producer of the award-winning film The Shadow of the Moon. Tune in the show via SLU.com, YouTube, or the SLU iPad app and ask questions using the hashtag SLOOH, S-L-O-O-H. The Virtual Telescope Project 2.0 has a webcast as well, starting at 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alright, put your comments down below. Interesting that Mars will also be visible. Mars considered the war planet. Alright, bookmark my site. I'll keep you up to date. Please stay safe. Always be prepared for any type of disaster. And I'll talk to you later. God bless y'all. Bye.
These cattle are very antsy because they've been cooped up for a long time. Many of them were chased down by helicopters. I've heard reports that 130 of them were run to death by helicopters out here in this heat, and it is hot.
How many heads?
You can see a cloud of cattle there. I've heard there was 130 cattle died, and 2 were shot by the BLM.
He lost 130 head.
Are all those his? Because BLM was saying that some of the cattle that they got were out of Arizona even. So I don't know.
It's only a half a mile.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, but they've. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know that, so that's good. Yeah. So it's only about a half mile that way is Arizona. Yeah. That explains it. I think those things range pretty far, but I guess Clark County is probably bigger than Rhode Island. It's huge. Yeah, probably literally. I'm not exaggerating. Yeah.
The biggest county in the nation. I think it's the second largest.
Looks like the cattle are coming.
They are.
Okay, here comes some cattle.
That is unbelievable. I've lived my whole life here fighting these BLM guys. That's the first time anybody's ever beat them.
That's great.
It's not over. It's gonna.
Oh, no,
keep
it's not over.
They're gonna keep going.
But that right there has never happened to these BLM guys. Ever.
Well,
Hey, don't go over there, ma'am. Ma'am. Do not go over there. Them cows will not come down here.
Are you here earlier when you really?
We did this. This guy got it. We only lost
Thank you.
that we know of so
I
far.
don't know if you can see the cattle. They're off in the distance. Here's some of them running. They're running towards us. Everybody's back away from the bridge, so we won't spook them.
Here they come. They get to go home.
What?
Hell was that? It wasn't good. David Knight.
Yes.
You guys are kicking butt, man.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, here come the first of the cattle. First of the cattle coming through here.
All right, baby. Love you. I'll talk to you later.
These are the Bundy cattle. Just been released by the BLM. Again, we're live on INFOWARS.com. Alex Jones live. Got some cow dogs there in the front. Round up the cattle. We got had quite a few mounted cowboys down here to help with the roundup, and they're trying to get all the pedestrians here on the side because these cattle have been cooped up for quite a while. Many of them were herded up by helicopter. I've heard 130 of them were run to death by helicopter. A couple of bulls were shot and killed by the BLM. It took us a very long time to get the BLM out of here. Bellies, which would mean that they were separated from their calves, or the calves had died. A lot of these calves were being, these newborn calves being run to death by the BLM in order to round them up. As I said, there was 130 head reportedly killed, 2 bulls shot. But the cowboys who came out here and the people who were on foot stood down the BLM.
I only heard.
Stood here for, I don't know if it was, how long it was. It seemed like a pretty long time. We stood our ground and then eventually closed.
Welcome back, and we have Tim Alexander. Tim, lots of issues to cover, so let's get rolling. This is a very momentous time in history, isn't it?
Yeah, Monday is the first of the 4 blood moons. Next week, a top-level conference takes place between Russia, the United States, NATO, and the coup government in the Ukraine. Russia wants the regional governments in eastern Ukraine to be included. Today, Putin wearing a velvet glove, but with a very tough iron fist, has warned Europe of quote-unquote gas shortages over the Ukraine deaths. And basically, you have to read between the lines. He phrased this in a way that they can't use it against him. But basically what he told NATO is, if you keep messing with Russia and the Ukraine and don't back down, we're going to turn the pipeline off. And the richest country in Europe is Germany. Less than 2 days ago,
Live. This is One for the Record. I'm Diana, and today is April 13th, 2014. Here are your news updates for today. Well, SLU is going to also be showing the blood moon on the 15th. So you might want to track that live on the SLOOH, S-L-O-O-H channel on YouTube. Also, I'm attaching different things. So there's some UFO activity in Orlando that happened and earlier this month. And let's go into the Extinction Protocol 2012 and beyond. Powerful 7.5 magnitude earthquake strikes the Solomon Islands, second large earthquake in 24 hours. Also, H5N1 discovered in Japan for first time since 2011. Paper published on how to mutate H5N1. Wildfires destroy 500 homes in Chile, killing 2. One of the worst fires in Chile's history. Wow. Alrighty then. Stay tuned. I'm attaching more things. Be safe. Be prepared for anything. And I'll see you tomorrow. We start the countdown all over again. But this time, keep your eyes to the skies for the blood moon coming up. Alrighty then. Take care. Be safe. See you tomorrow on the flip side.
Hey guys, Dabu7 got a crazy story I want to share with you here. A Norwegian skydiver nearly gets struck by a meteorite while skydiving. As you can see here, he went to open up his parachute. He had the Go cam on his head, and it was recording all this. And when they went back and they looked, they seen something. They go back, and in slow motion, they could see that this is a rock that comes hurling down through the sky. Now, I see it, and you can see it right here. This is the object that came down. They're stating that it was a meteorite. Now, I don't know exactly what the object is. Some people say it's not a meteorite. There's no trail. There's no nothing coming off of it. Some people say that that's possible if all the vapor was pulled out of a meteorite coming in, that there would be no trail. Other people say it's not a meteorite. But regardless, this object came very close to him. They caught it on film, broad daylight, and they were joking, saying just a fraction of a second difference in his jump, he would have got nailed by this thing. But it's an interesting video. I'll leave a link so you guys can watch the whole piece here. But yeah, guy nearly struck by this object right here. I don't know, you guys tell me. I'll leave a link in the description box. It's been Dabu7. Eyes open.
And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out of my Spirit upon all flesh. And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days of my Spirit, and they shall prophesy. And I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and notable day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass, that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Hello and welcome to another segment of A Spirited Debate. I'm Lauren Green, Chief Religion Correspondent for Fox News Channel. Does God use the motion of the planets to communicate with us, to announce things to come? Well, many people believe that an astronomical occurrence called 4 blood moons is a message from God. A blood moon is a full lunar eclipse, and 4 of them in a row is called a tetrad. When they've occurred on the Jewish High Holy Days, it's coincided with major historical events like the Six-Day War in 1967. 4 blood moons on the Jewish high holy days has happened only 3 times in the last 500 years. The next time it occurs is starting next spring on the Jewish Passover. Pastor Hagee has written a book called 4 Blood Moons. Something is about to change, and he joins me now. This is fascinating because I get a lot of books about end times prophecies and what's the Bible trying to say, and this one really fascinated me because it charts history of astronomical occurrences, the Jewish high holy days of Passover and the Feast of the Tabernacles, and these occurrences. And I want to go over just a couple of the things that have happened because it's only happened in 3 times.
3 times in over 500 years.
In 500 years.
And this is confirmed by NASA. This is not something that a religious think tank put together. This is something that you can check on the internet. This is what NASA says has happened, and this is what they say is going to happen.
This is, and we have a full screen up, and it's exactly what I did when I saw your book, because I wanted to verify that these things had happened, and sure enough it was. That's why I wanted to have you on. 4 blood moons have occurred in 1493-94, fall of Spain, the Jews expelled from them, and Columbus discovers America, what the Bible calls it the infant nation.
Right.
1949 to 1950, it follows Israel being declared a nation.
State.
And then a nation state. And then 1967-68, the 6-Day War. Those are the last 3 times that 4 blood moons have occurred.
Right.
And so the next time it occurs actually is starting next spring.
Starts April the 15th, 2014, next spring, and it happens on Passover. The second blood moon next year will be October the 8th on the Feast of Tabernacles. And then in 2015, it will happen again on Passover. And then it will happen the last time, September the 15th, and that will be on the Feast of Tabernacles. The irony of what it takes to get the sun, the earth, and the moon in a perfect alignment to have a blood moon, and then for those blood moons to be on this exact date is something that just is beyond coincidental. The Bible very clearly says, Joel the 2nd chapter says, the day of the Lord will be as when the sun refuses to shine. The significant thing is that between these 4 blood moons will be a total solar eclipse, and the moon will be turned to blood. That is exactly repeated in Acts the 2nd chapter. It is repeated by Jesus Christ in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter, when he said, you will see the sun, signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. And when you see these signs, lift up your head, your redemption draweth nigh.
So you're saying that this next 4 blood moons that's starting next spring, is this the end times, what we're looking for, or do you not know what is being communicated with this?
Technically, prophetically, the end times began with the outpouring of Pentecost 2,000 years ago. So we have been in the end times when you believe the dispensational 7-day period of time that equates to the 7 days of generation. There are 7 ages and dispensations. We have been in the end times a long time. But when we are reaching that point in time when world history is about to change, we are entering that zone, and it's going to change forever. It's going to change dramatically, and it's going to involve Israel because it has involved Israel in 1492, 1948, 1967. And each time it has gone from tragedy to triumph. 1492, as you said, the Jewish people were kicked out of Spain with the Edict of Expulsion by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. America was discovered, and the Jewish people had a home until Israel became the state. In 1948-49, Israel was a state. The thing that preceded that was the Holocaust, a time of tears and tragedy. 1967 was the 6-Day War, and then Jerusalem became a part of the state.
But what do we know what it's going to happen? I mean, we get a lot of prophecy, a lot of end-time prophecies. I get the books a lot. But there's no telling what is actually going to happen. I mean, you could not have predicted a 6-day war. You could not have predicted a lot of the things that happened after the Second World War with the, with the partition for Israel. Is there is there any way to predict actually what's going to happen? And it will happen after the last 4 blood moon, which would be in 2015.
There is a sequence of prophetic events that the Bible says will happen, but it does not give a when. It just says when you see these signs like this, lift up your heads and rejoice, your redemption draweth nigh, meaning that the end of this age is coming and the Messianic age is going to appear. How long is that? No one knows.
Well, it's a fascinating topic, and I urge people to not only check out your book, but also check out what's on the internet, because there's a lot of stuff about 4 blood moons that people can check out for themselves and see what they think. I mean, there are a lot of people who just poo-poo any kind of end-time prophecy. There are a lot of theologians that say that you can't predict what's going to happen. But the fact is that this is an astronomical occurrence that did occur, that happened at this time, and that the next one is going to start happening next spring. So it's fascinating. And one last thing, though, for the first time in history, I believe Hanukkah is on Thanksgiving.
For the first time in thousands of years, and it will not happen ever again.
Is that part of what's changing in this world, too? God's trying to communicate with us something, or is this not even related?
Well, I can't address that because that's not something I've researched. But I have researched this backwards and forwards. And the concept that these 4 blood moons happen on a high holiday 4 times in a row with a solar eclipse in the middle is beyond the null hypothesis of probability. This is something that the Bible, using the sun, the moon, and the stars as a communication system to humanity, says something is about to change and world history is going to change forever.